I'm Coach Corey Wayne, and this is my video coaching newsletter. And the topic of this newsletter is going to be winners and losers. Well, I was inspired to do this video coaching newsletter because I don't know if you pay much attention to NFL football, but Bill Parcells got inducted into the Hall of Fame this weekend. And after listening to his speech that he gave, which is I guess about 20 minutes long, and kind of some of the life lessons and critical points along his life, the wisdom that he learned from other great coaches and mentors, I thought it'd be a great thing to pass along regarding teamwork and what the difference between a winner and a loser is from a guy who's won multiple Super Bowls and been to multiple Super Bowls. Plus, he was a first ballot Hall of Fame inductee. So before we get into it, I got a quote I'd like to share with you. And it says, the difference between winners and losers is not only that winners never quit until they succeed, it's that winners expect to win eventually. Winners think from the end. They see themselves in the winner's circle, holding up the championship trophy, closing the big deal, getting the job they want, making their business a success, and imagining what it will be like when they succeed. The thought of quitting means failure and ultimate pain. Winners use the thought of pain and failure as leverage to motivate themselves to keep moving forward, even when it looks and feels hopeless. They are not deterred by weak people or the naysayers. Winners simply feel there's no better way to live than to set goals and charge after them in an unstoppable manner by learning, adapting, measuring, and changing their approach along the way until the goal is realized. While losers make excuses, winners don't get caught up in minor things or mental circle jerks because they are too busy taking action with passion in order to overcome obstacles, setbacks, and challenges. That's pretty much the way I think, because I have very high standards for myself. In every area of my life, I want the best. I take the best care of my body that I can. I try to eat the best foods. I try to eat the best water. I learn from the best coaches and experts and doctors. I take care of myself with network chiropractic care when it comes to dating and relationships. I only want the best. Why? Because that's how I look at myself. I look at myself and I know over the course of my life that I'm kind of different. And if you're watching this video, you're also one of those kinds of people. You're probably the only person in your family that's kind of like 10 years ahead of everybody else that's in your family as far as adopting new things and trying new things. And people make fun of you. Oh, that's stupid. You're a fool. That'll never work out for you. And then, of course, years later, when you succeed or that part of your area life is doing well, they go, hey, I'd like to get your advice on that. And so that's pretty much, it's like when I go to buy a new car. I don't say, oh, well, how much is this option? I just like, what is the top of the line? What are all the options that I can get on this thing? That's what I want. Why? Because I feel like I deserve the best. I expect the best for myself, and I give the best. And it's like what I do in my YouTube channel and the articles on my website. I give the best information. I don't make you spend $10,000 with me to learn all the best stuff that I know. I put the best stuff out there so you can examine it yourself and help you. Because at the end of the day, my goal is to help as many people as possible. And I know there's a lot of people watching this that can't afford to spend a lot of money. There's people in countries around the world that follow me that just spending $10 for my Kindle book. That's a lot of money, especially for somebody who only makes $100 or $200 a month. And the way I look at it is if I help that person today, maybe 5 years from now or 10 years from now when they're really successful, they'll pay me back. They'll make a donation or they'll book a phone coaching session then, or they'll buy the book then when they can afford it. That's the way I look at it. It's like Zig Ziglar said. He said, if you help enough people get what they want, you'll get what you want. So let's get into some of the things that I picked up from Coach Parcells, his Hall of Fame speech. And what was interesting, he's the only coach that's ever taken 4 different teams to the playoff. He won, I think it was 2 Super Bowls with the New York Giants, and I think he took New England once or twice to the Super Bowl. I think he lost against Brett Favre in Green Bay back in the 1990s. And plus he served as an administrator. He served as, I think it was a vice president of football operations for the Miami Dolphins for 2 or 3 years. And the year before he took over the Dolphins, they had like a 1-15 record. I mean, they lost 15 of their games. And so the next year they made the playoffs, his first year there, and I think they had 11 11-5 record, I think it was. They ended up losing in the first round, but that was one of the best turnarounds in NFL history. I mean, the guy is absolutely a winner, and he knows what I always loved about him is he didn't give a fuck about what the weak people in the media had to say about him, and he always kind of kept them at arm's length. And when one of them asked a ridiculous question in a press conference, he would always let them know that it was a really stupid fucking question and make them feel bad for asking it, because he didn't tolerate bullshit. He didn't tolerate bullshit from other people in the public, and he certainly didn't tolerate it in his locker rooms of his teams. So one of the biggest pieces of wisdom that he learned from a guy early on was that he said your players deserve a chance to win. And whether you're a boss or a CEO or an entrepreneur or you're a leader in whatever it is that you do, the people that work for you, they deserve a chance to win. In other words, you've got to give them everything they need to succeed, the support they need to succeed, and create the kind of environment where the self-motivated kind of people, the people that are the self-starters, the kind of people that you don't have, because great people, they don't need to be told what to do. They need leadership. And because they're self-starters like me, it's like they don't need motivation. Great people don't need to be motivated. They're already self-motivated. And those are if you're building any kind of a team, you want people that are naturally going to do things. It's just like working out. It's like people that just naturally want to take care of their bodies. They do it. They don't make excuses. If they want to eat healthier, they do it. They don't make excuses. If their job sucks, they don't whine about it. They might complain about it for a little bit, but they go and they do something about it. They take some action to remedy the situation instead of like the most people do, which is pointing their finger and say, "Oh, it's somebody else's fault." And one of the other interesting things he said that I really liked, he said he's coached players, black players, Asian players, Samoan players, white players, Oriental players, just like pretty much every kind of ethnicity that's out there. And his attitude was that if you can contribute to the team, come on in. But if you can't, then get the heck out. I mean, that was his attitude. I mean, think about it. If you got, like on a football team and during training camp, like which is what they're in right now, that each team has about 90 players in training camp. But in 4 weeks from now, when after the last preseason game, they will cut that team down to 53 players, and I think they keep 7 players on the practice squad. And so there's a lot of players in 3 or 4 weeks from now that their dreams are going to be smashed and they're going to be destroyed. And the interesting thing is I've got a bunch of friends and people I know that have played in the NFL before. And the difference is you have some people, it's like everybody's got talent in the NFL, but not everybody has the will to prepare to win or the psychology to win. They're not self-motivated. A lot of people that succeed in college football and don't make it in the pros, they've just kind of been skating along on their physical talent. But when you get into the NFL where everybody has talent, you've got to have your own internal psychology under control, and you've got to motivate yourself to work out, to take good care of your body, to not, even though you're making millions of dollars or making hundreds of thousands, because not everybody's a millionaire in the NFL. Actually, most players that play in the NFL aren't millionaires. And so the guys that succeed, even despite the fact that they've got good contracts and they're making more money than the average regular person, because I think the lowest paid player is like a couple $100,000 a year. I think it's like $300,000-$400,000. I think it's the lowest salary of people that maybe didn't get signed or like they're undrafted or unsigned prospect. Is that you look at a guy like the Miami Dolphins, Cameron Wake, who's a defensive end. And what I love about him is it was a couple years ago, he tweeted something and he was talking about his journey because he didn't get drafted, and I can't remember which team it was, but he went and signed on with a team, and then they ended up cutting him, and he ended up going to play in Canada for a couple of years. And after he won Defensive Player of the Year for a couple of years, the Miami Dolphins gave him a chance. And so he was working out, working the gym. Basically, I think he was working for UPS or selling insurance or something like that. And he hated it. And his dream was to be a football player, and that was his passion. And he was really hurt and disappointed that nobody really gave him a chance. And then the Miami Dolphins gave him a chance and he proved himself. He just got a $40 million contract extension this past offseason, or I think it was like right before the end of last year. And so he proved himself, and they gave him the big contract. And I remember when he made his first Pro Bowl a couple years ago, he tweeted basically from the couch to the Pro Bowl, because just a few years before that, he was kind of sitting on the couch he had what he wanted to do, but he was pretty much out of the NFL. And so he set about going into the Canadian Football League and proving himself there to the point where he got noticed. It's kind of like that Maya Angelou quote where she said, "Don't pursue money, pursue things that you love and you're passionate about and become so good at them that people can't take their eyes off of you." And that's basically what he did, and that's why he got the reward. And a lot of players in the NFL are like that. They're the underdogs, guys that didn't get drafted. I mean, you look at Tom Brady, the New England Patriots. I think he got drafted in like the 7th round. I mean, he's going to be a first ballot Hall of Fame quarterback once he finally does retire. And he's different because he applies himself and he works harder than all the rest of the guys in the team do and the rest of the quarterbacks in the league do. That's why he's so good. He has, just like Michael Jordan, he has higher standards for himself than everybody else around him expects of him. And, it's the interesting thing Coach Parcells also said about the locker room. He says there's no rules of conduct or how you need to be. It's just kind of unwritten rules because the team will take care of it itself. And so, in other words, if you show up and you contribute to the team, you'll be accepted. But if you don't, if you're one of those players that comes in, oh, the coaches suck, this sucks, the offense that we're running sucks, I'm not getting a good chance. It's like they'll boot your ass, they'll run you right out of the locker room because they don't want that bullshit on their team. I mean, in the NFL, that's the best of the best. And there's only about 800,000 players that are actually in the NFL out of 6.5 billion people on the planet. And that's pretty impressive. And so one of the things that I thought was really great that he was talking about his first coaching job with the Giants. And after his first press conference, after his first game, the owner came down and he said, I think his name was Wellington Mara, and he said, "Come on, Coach, let's take a walk." And so he took him down to a part of an old Giant stadium, and there was this plaque on the wall, and it was a quote from the first black NFL player to ever be inducted into the NFL Hall of Fame. And what he said on the plaque, basically, his quote was that losers assemble in little groups and complain. They complain about the coaches. They complain about the other players. They just find ways to bitch. He said, but winners assemble as a team. And it's so true. Because you look at people that aren't succeeding. I'm sure you know people in your own life that have dreams. They have things they want to accomplish. But do they ever actually take any action? Obviously not. They usually complain about things and they have their excuses. It's part of their story. It's what they use to bullshit themselves into not taking any kind of action. So if you've got a dream that you'd like to strive for, whether it's you want to start a business or you want to change your career, you want to figure out what your purpose is, you want to lose 50 pounds or 100 pounds, you want to take better care of your body, whatever it is that you want to do, go to my website, click the products tab, which will be at the top of your screen, and book a paid phone coaching session with yours truly. And I will talk to you soon.